Welcome to Dynamite Delight. Now I'm going to see if I can make this under 15 minutes because I'm going to be honest here. I doubt many people are going to see this review because I doubt many people are going to care about this Dynamite. This is going on the same night as NXT TakeOver, and I'm going to be honest here. Seeing the show for what it was a solid to good show. It was not a spectacular show. It was not a groundbreaking show. Yes, it had a good ending, one we're going to talk about. But honestly, I'm sure NXT is going to beat it. NXT TakeOver will probably beat it. Sorry for the noise. It gets very noisy in my area. If you start hearing heavy music, a lot of noise, I'm sorry. But back to this. I just don't see it beating NXT. I just don't. Unless NXT TakeOver is one of the worst shows they put on. Which I'm not saying it couldn't be. Because we know that Vince is still influencing the show, even though they state he's not. He is. He's still influencing the show in some way. So let's go to the opening. Now, we had the playoffs going on. So there was no way it was going to start on time. It was like about 36 to 38 minutes late, I believe. So it started immediately after it was finished. There was no intros for Private Party. There was no intros for FTR with Tully Blanchard. I really wanted to see FTR walk out with Tully. They needed that. They needed to hammer that home to the people at home that this is now a pairing. Kind of like what happened with, I know, bringing WWE and NXT because I just spoke about them when it came to the Authors of Pain. But let's be honest. The Authors of Pain, when it came to having a manager, really helped them a lot. And seeing Telly as their manager compared to, Ellery was very similar. You can feel that that's something special to be paired. Now, was the match okay? It was okay for what it was. I never have a problem with Private Party except for the ring attire. I really believe the ring attire with the attitude needs to change a little bit. They're not in House of Glory. I'm not against House of Glory. From what I understand, it's a good promotion. But they are in AEW. Make them wear a different style and make it look good. Now, as far as I saw, they did change up this style a little bit the last time I saw them when they came out for their walkout. But here, they kind of look the same. So I'm hoping they didn't go back because it was a special occasion. In the end, FTR won, and I didn't expect them to lose. Now, I was glad to see Telly had helped them to cheat. Because Telly is part of the Horsemen, and when it was time to cheat, it was time to cheat. When it was time to beat the ass out of somebody, they beat the ass out of somebody. Now, also, there was an interview. He made it very clear. These guys can and will be the best. It is their destiny to get those titles. And they will. Now then we had Hangman Page come out. And he was pretty pissed saying, what was that last week? And they tried to stroke his ego. Pretty much saying, look, you need us to win the tournament next week. You don't want the Bucks because they're going to try and take away your spotlight that you earned. They're going to shove you back under the rug like they did before. When you won those titles, you were no longer in the shadow. If they win, you're going right back under the rug. You deserve a fair fight. Now, it's obvious they're trying to stroke his ego. And I'm not having a problem with it. I'm actually enjoying seeing FTR go from looking really strong faces and being clean to going heel. But they must book it properly. They need to book it like heel type, that's the Four Horsemen heel type. If we're going to compare them to that, that means they need to be booked similar to the Horsemen. And I'm not saying the Horsemen back in the 80s and 90s were perfect in their booking, but at least if you book them reasonably well, we will like it. But I will say this, and I know it's going to be brought up eventually with maybe other reviewers. Look, when it comes to the matches, let's be honest, FTR has an old style of wrestling that not many people like. They want the smash mouth, they want heavy submission, and they want lucha libre high-flying wrestling. FTR doesn't fit all those bills. But we need, and I say this again to anyone who rather see more high-flying wrestling than actually the mat base that they have. It is a slower pace, yes. It is an older style, yes. But when you keep going to the current new one with no variation, it doesn't bring in fans. Look, I'm making it clear. We need fans for AEW. That means casual fans. That means you have to have and must have different styles. If you have to have an older style of wrestling to help with different types of fans who don't like the high flying, and I'm not talking about old people like myself, because I am 49 now, and the only thing people are going to think, well, only old people want that. No, their young people want it as well. You must cater to different people, or you will lose everything you're struggling for to have an alternative to the monster called WWE. I'm just saying. We had should I do the 6 or the 8? Let's do the 8. An 8-man tag. Lucha Brothers and Butcher and Blade versus the Natural Nightmares, and the... I hate when they do this. Look, I have nothing against Jurassic Express. As I said before, Luchasaurus is money. He's a big man that knows how to move. He's money. And I still think they're wasting him in a tag team. I do believe that. It's a good tag team, seeing a smaller guy who's high flying with a big guy who's very physical and could do high flying if necessary. I think that's a good teaming, but I still think Luchasaurus should be on his own. But, and I gotta say this, when it comes to this 8-man tag, I was not interested. Not because it was a bad 8-man tag. It wasn't bad. And I gotta say this, and I've heard JD, I've heard his partner, and I've heard other people talk about Butcher and Blade, saying they're great wrestlers. Well, I want to say this, and if anyone shows this to them, one, how you doing? I respect your work, but I don't agree with you on one respect. Knowing the Butcher and the Blade are great wrestlers on Dark means nothing on Dynamite if they don't get a freaking win by themselves. It means nothing. They're freaking jobbers. Not because they can't wrestle. Not because they don't have personality. It's because they don't book them. And I see Butcher and the Blade, Braxton Sutter, and Butcher, great wrestlers that have been basically jobbed their asses out. And the only time when they win is when they're in a 6-man or an 8-man tag. But in this situation, they didn't win because the Lucha Brothers and them had an argument at the end of the match and they lost. I'm going to let that set in for a minute. You got the Butcher and the Blade. Yes, they may be doing great on Dark, but on Dynamite, they get nothing done. Then you got the Luchasaurus. Not Luchasaurus. You got the Lucha Brothers. You see, this gets me upset. Who's probably doing great on Dark. But really, what are they doing on Dynamite? Nothing. They're not jobbers, but they're not going anywhere. They're floating. So you got one group who are jobbers. Not because they don't have the ability, but they just booked that way. And another one that's floating. What are you going to do? Have a feud with them now? Does that mean we're going to see this here, or is it going to be on Dark? My guess is it'll probably be on Dark. Which, if they're going to show it on Dynamite, they should show it on Dynamite. At least another match after that. Make it mean something. Maybe at the pay-per-view. You never know. Then we got the Brit Baker segment with Sabian. Sabian and with Penelope Forbes. And, well, I still wish Brit Baker would act more like a dentist who's trying to rip your teeth out than what she's doing now, being the role model. I just don't like it. For me personally, I can see that she's at least trying. But for me, I want her to be the freaking dentist. Go in with a utensil, and then when she's wrestling, rip the damn tooth out. Of course, you don't rip the real tooth out. You just use a fake one and rip it out. And at least try to rip it out. And make it interesting. Here, she's just trying to use Penelope Forbes to get to Big Swole. So next week, Forbes going up against Swole. I'm sure of it. Maybe at the pay-per-view, you're going to have Baker versus Swole. I don't have a problem with Swole, but I just don't feel the character of Brit Baker as the role model. Make her a damn dentist, man. And then I feel sorry for Rebel that she's just not doing anything. At least not yet. Maybe she will get back in the ring. I hope she does. Still a gorgeous woman. Anyway, we have next Orange Cassidy interview by Tony Schiavone. And I think I will have a little talk about Excalibur and what I think about things after this. But seeing that Chris Jericho put him over was nice. It's in my face. I believe I got it. Mayoka Mayhem match at the pay-per-view. The rubber match. Where you either win by pin, submission, or get thrown into a vat of orange and bubbly juice mixed together. Look, Y2J came up with basically Money in the Bank. He did. He made it work. He is a genius in that respect. But I don't think this is going over well. It'll be funny at the pay-per-view, but I don't think this will be a staple every year. This is just a one-off silly thing, which could work. I think they're really trying to have fun with this and make things different and innovative, which can be very hard in wrestling because people copy things over and over and over again. So instead of doing a steel cage match or doing a lockdown mayhem match like in Impact Wrestling, they're doing this. I don't know if it's going to get over, but at least it will be interesting. Now, Dark Order 3, 4, and 5 versus the Bucks and Kenny. Kenny again shows tendencies of getting very pissed off very easily. Now, does that mean he will be joining Telly's force? I don't know. Does this mean Hangman Page will join Telly's force of the possible new horsemen? I don't know. But seeing that Kenny gets so pissed off so easily now, it makes you wonder where they're going to go with him. Because in the end, the faces win. And Kenny wanted to take a chair and basically destroy the back of one of the wrestlers. I think it was, 4 or 3? Can't remember. In the end, that's what we got. Now, this one was just a little too easy. Darby Allin versus a jobber who's 3 times his size almost. It's in my face. Look, I know Darby Allin is, for me, the embodiment of Mick Foley. Someone who has total no fear. Who's willing to destroy his body 100%. Destroy it. And I really wish Mick Foley would come and give him the moniker of the new Mankind. Not that he takes the name, because that's part of WWE, but just give the moniker like a Mankind, that he is the next embodiment of Mick Foley. He doesn't have to be a big guy to be the embodiment. He just can be. He destroys this guy. Not 100% like easily destroys him, but and let me give you like this. The big guy, I don't know his name, I can't remember it. He did mess him up a bit, but in the end, he did win the match and make him look destroyed. Then we have, and I know one of my subscribers hate this, Ricky Starks come out after Taz puts him over saying, "You are one tough son of a bitch," but guess what? You're going to get it now because I got my own Darby Allin, and it's Ricky Starks, and he comes out with a face paint, and you can see him on my face, and he pretty much says, "You're a joke. I'm a joke. We're a joke. And you're about to be destroyed." Not in those words, but pretty much that's what happened. He gets nailed in the face with the title. Fuck the world title. Then he gets destroyed with the skateboard. And then Stark says, "You're nothing compared to me. You're nothing. I got more than you ever could dream." And it's not that bad. Is it great? No. Because I gotta say this, Ricky Starks is not a bad wrestler and he's not a bad character. But see him work with Brian Cage doesn't feel right. Not because they both can't get the job done, like in a tag team or singles, but it doesn't feel like this is what Ricky Starks should be. He should be on his own to build his own persona without Taz. Now, mind you, having Taz there is a great help to him. And I hope he will break away on his own, but it just feels like he should be by himself. That's just me, you tell me below. Now, unfortunately, because we're in picture-in-picture, we did not see the full... Well, we did see the full scope of the beatdown, but we could not hear the commentary make it mean something. This is what happens when you do picture-in-picture. When you do picture-in-picture, even though you can see what's going on in the ring, the context, the flavor of it disappears because the commentary team and the fans are supposed to make it mean something. Now, at the end, they go out of picture-in-picture. Matt destroys Sammy, and he makes it very clear he wants him dead. He's just pissed. Good, but then they needed to do this not in picture-in-picture. But I can understand if they had time constraints. This was after the NBA playoffs. And it makes sense for them to do it so quickly, but still, it needed to be in normal television with the commentary team and the fans to put it over. Here's something that makes me very happy. Thunder Rosa appears. She's in my face. She still recognizes I'm sorry, I botched. As you guys already know, I do love NWA Power. And I'm hoping they come back. But it's already been probably made clear that they're not going to come back until maybe next year. If you go to their channel, you see Eli, and anything hasn't been uploaded in a couple of months already. So they're not doing anything. They're probably too worried they're going to make someone sick, which is understandable. So they're staying shut down until situations get better. But seeing that NWA employees, at least if they haven't been fired, have been going to AEW makes me feel like maybe AEW could be the place they can work with. Billy Corgan sees an opportunity. Look, they're both new companies in a sense. NWA has been reforged into something new. AEW's new. Sticking them together would probably be the wisest thing to do. So seeing that Thunder Rosa is there, she's going to go up against Sheeta at the pay-per-view to try and get the title is something good to see. Now the question's going to be, is this just going to be a one-off, or will AEW and NWA pair each other? This is what I'm kind of hoping that Tony Khan is a smart guy. So is Billy Corgan. And I'm kind of hoping that they kind of work together. And Corgan sees it like this. Look, we can't do it in Atlanta. It's too dangerous. But if I allow you to use some of my talent, we can cross-promote once we get back on our feet. I really do want to work with you. So, that might be the best thing. Now, I know they do have a contract working with ROH. But as far as I know, ROH is not really doing that much. And they haven't said anything about ROH. So, if NWA is going to be pairing with them right now, so be it. Now, the match for the cup. And it was worrying me. The Nightmare Sisters versus Diamante and Evilisa. No, not Evilise. I'm mispronouncing a name. I'm mispronouncing a name, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I had some stuff I had to do today. But I was worried that the Nightmare Sisters were going to win. It was almost telegraphed that they were going to win. But I'm glad Evilise, there you go, and Diamante did win. Now the question's going to be, will this translate into a women's tag division? I don't know. But at least they did something with the women, but it doesn't mean it was a great thing. I'm hoping it'll give us something better next time around, which could be in a couple of months, when maybe next year. You guys tell me below. Now, let's see, anything else I'm missing here? If I'm missing something, I'm sorry. I really am. Now, Cody versus it's in my face. I felt so easily that Cody was going to win. Because the way they booked Brody Lee, when he came in, a lot like Lance Archer, they just made him job too soon. Flat out, this is the truth. Lance Archer jobbed too easily and too quickly. I mean, not that easily. He did put up a good match. But he jobbed too early, just like Brody Lee. But they decided to give Brody Lee the title. He destroys Cody. Destroys him. Clearly, there was nothing left of him once he put him into the ground and made a smear out of him. But then, he gets the title. He tells Giovanni, I gotta say this. Seeing that Brody Lee makes it very clear that people like you, and he says this to Tony, people like you've always put me down, never thinking I can be anything. And he was referencing to the WWE. Let's be honest, that's the truth. It's now a running joke. Anyone who comes out of WWE is always going to bury it. Which is understandable because they deserve it. But in the end, he makes it very clear that no one ever believed in him. Like anyone in corporate never believed in me, but I proved them wrong. Look what I'm holding. And he destroys Art. He destroys QT Marshall. He destroys Dustin. And even Brandy was not protected. Even though she tried to protect a man. I forgot her name. Anna, I believe that's her name. I forgot her name. Even she was used to destroy Brandy. Nail her clean. So the entire Nightmare family was wiped out. Everyone. The only one that wasn't there was Allie. That was the only person that wasn't there. But in the end, Brody Lee's holding the title up high. A New Order. I don't think that's the name I'm going to use. I'll use something else. But A New Order. Now, I got to say this. Kind of going away from AEW. I saw WWE's Thunderdome. And my thoughts are simple. It's a piece of crap. Very, very flairful, colorful. But simply put, the stories are the same. The wrestlers being treated badly are the same. Naomi wins against Bayley, but she's not going to get a title. She's not going to get a title opportunity. WWE is still giving us the same old stuff. The only difference is they're making it look pretty. Now you look at AEW. It's not totally pretty. Unlike the panels that they put up to make the Thunderdome interesting with the people there, that some of them just fell the frick asleep. At least you hear the people there, whether it's not really loud or not, whether they're booing, cheering, or in between, at least you have a sense of realism, a flavor of organicness of the show. I'm not saying that this episode was great. It wasn't. It was solid enough you could say you could enjoy it. But comparing to WWE this Friday, this was much better. Because I felt something compared to what I felt on Friday SmackDown, which was just empty. Just seeing those people there on the screen, knowing most of them were beginning to be bored and going like this or going like this, falling asleep, and the canned heat and canned popped didn't mean anything to me. It was empty. At least I can say in this show, it wasn't. I cared about what was here. Even if I didn't like all the matches, like the 8-man and 6-man tag, I didn't really care about it. But I did enjoy the show because I felt interaction, because next to the wrestlers, there were some fans in the seats that were family members and some regular people as well that were separated, and they made sure everyone was safe. So this was a good show. Solid. But it's not going to beat TakeOver, I'm sure of it. But it's not the point of beating TakeOver. This is not a short-term game we're talking about. This is about a long-term thing. And I do believe, even with problems, AEW is still a better product. I know not many people are going to see this show and not even going to see my review, but hopefully you enjoy it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.